So, so, would you guys like to know how to gain 2 or more hours during every day for the rest of your life? The answer is simple. Spend less time in traffic. So, myself, I used to live in Athens, Greece, and what I did was to spend 1 or more hours each day commuting. This took a lot of my free time and a lot of time I could be spending doing useful stuff. So this statistic you can see on the board says that an average American spends 34 hours per year in a traffic jam. I would say that that would be more like 34 days a year. If you do the math, 34 days a year is just 2 hours per day. It's not that much. It can happen. So how would you stop spending so much time in traffic? So it's not something you can do alone. Everybody should work together so there's less traffic jams in our cities. So what we could do is to use more of the public transportation system. So if more people start using the public transportation system, then what would happen is that the tickets would give a signal to the government to start expanding the current infrastructure, so we would have better and better trains and better buses to use. And another thing we could do is that you people and everybody, me too, should all start carpooling. So I've spent a period of my life when I carpooled to go to school, and it was great. Seriously, I absolutely recommend it because it's a social thing to do. You spend time in the morning just talking to other people, and instead of being alone in your car and driving, you get to talk and share news, and it's a nice experience. So just to sum up, in order to spend less time on traffic, I recommend everybody to use the public transportation system more and carpool with your friends to go to school or to work if that is possible.
All right, Jason, you went about 2 minutes. And you only had 5 ers, which is a huge improvement from your very first speech. You had close to 20. And the good thing is that most of these were in the end. So most of these were in the back net when you were probably fumbling for things to say. Volume, Dylan?
The volume, Jason, I think you could have projected a little bit louder. I know that we only got a week ago, but remember what Dr. Lauder said, I think maybe 2 weeks ago? He said, just basically try to speak to the back of the wall. Basically pretend that you're speaking back, and I also think that would help maybe with your enunciation as well. Because I know you have a little bit of a Greek accent, but maybe with the projection, that would also help with the cadence in terms of slowing your speech down and allowing the emphasis on each syllables to really be strengthened.
So can anybody tell me how his gestures were?
I thought your gestures, you used a lot of inner and subtle. So inner and lower, so you did this a lot. You'll see that on the camcorder. But you did, sometimes use a little bit of outer with one hand, but try to do two a little more.
Yeah, all the gestures were two-handed.
Two-handed.
All of them were two-handed.
Two-handed.
We did a single-handed.
It's difficult to do this without thinking about it.
Right. And eventually it'll happen. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I think your hand gestures were decent, but one thing you should try to focus on is moving a little bit more. Because you did move around. Your body movement, at the very least, wasn't completely confined to one space. But if you could maybe come up to the front a little bit more, instead of staying in the back, that could really help.
You can correct, if you don't mind me just touch on that. So what you did is you walked from there to there, and then back to there, and then you walk from there to here, to back to there. What Carl's trying to say is stay up here a little bit more and walk this way.
Yeah.
So have a little bit more x-axis.
I also think, Jason, that would help with the volume too, because you're closer to the audience.
It does help you project.
So what would you say is Jason's eye contact?
I think you had really solid eye contact. Another thing I wanted to compliment you on was I really wish you went that week that we were talking about facial expressions specifically, because you have good facial expressions, and that works in tandem with your eye contact. You smile a lot, you raise your eyebrows, so keep that for sure, and just focus on that projection and those other things, the other feedback that you got.
But I do think a positive that you had is you did utilize pauses more this time, and that's what eliminated your verbal failures. So very good job working on that aspect, because I said before that was something we really wanted to work on. So I guess just to sum up the opportunity for improvement is first, vary those hand gestures. You're not just using two-handed, subtle by your hips. So that's one thing. And second, projecting your voice a little more, and then you can do that by moving around more up front towards the audience.
Thank you very much, everybody.